This message is for a collective of people or people who feel like they are stuck in the in between. So, the in between, from how I understand it, is this idea that you're not your old self. You don't want to go back there. You have no intention of returning there, but you have not yet stepped into the new person or who you are becoming or who you are meant to be. And so you're kind of in this energy of being in the middle of that space. So, not what you used to be, but also not where you want to be, right? And what's coming up as I'm talking about this is the idea that, like, this waiting energy. So, this idea of waiting. I think that anytime you are in an energy of waiting, you are not in alignment. So, anytime that you're feeling like you're waiting for something to happen, you're not actually in alignment with your path and your movement forward. Okay. And waiting is like a lack energy. That's the best way for me to kind of describe it. It's like comes from this energy of feeling like you need something to be able to move forward, or you're missing something, and until you receive that thing, you can't do the thing, right? And part of this spiritual journey is learning that you are whole all on your own right now in this exact moment, and you always have been. And just because you're learning lessons or because you are like healing, or you're moving through things, or you're learning how to do things, doesn't mean that you're not whole and complete. I often feel like that's confused, like where feel like we have to do this thing before we can do this thing. And the spiritual journey is a very deep dive into your inner parts of yourself to recognize that you are whole and you've always been whole. And there's actually nothing that you need to become whole. You are whole. But part of the spiritual journey and the beginning aspects of it is learning how to recognize that and see that within yourself and treat yourself as such. And I think this is where you can get caught in this in between space, is you get caught in this space of not recognizing that you are whole and you've always been whole. And so, as soon as you are able to kind of come into that balance with yourself, you are able to balance masculine and feminine energy within you. That that then will lead you to where you're meant to go. And also on a daily basis will lead you to fulfillment. So what's coming through is kind of like this idea that we're always looking for our path, we're always looking for where we're supposed to go, what we're supposed to do. And when you break it down into this idea of maybe it's not about knowing so far into the future, maybe if you were to focus more so on your day to day, then you would recognize that you're already on the path in some ways. And there are points in time that you actually step off of the path on a daily basis. So, what I mean by that is like, how are you spending your day to day? Are you spending your day to day waiting? Are you spending your day to day doing things that fulfill you and make you feel good and bring happiness and joy? Right? Because that's your path. Your path is to find a way to find fulfillment for yourself in whatever way that is, right? Like, we're all here to feel fulfilled in some sort of way. I think that's like the baseline, like break it down as small as possible way to put this. Okay. We are all seeking fulfillment. We are all seeking happiness, right? And so when you can recognize that that's something that you are able to give to yourself by the choices that you make on a daily basis, then you are able to recognize that it's actually not something you're seeking or looking for. It's something you live, it's something you embody. And that's what they mean by embodiment. It's something you embody on a day to day experience and a moment to moment experience and an hour to hour experience. And so if you are getting like consumed or confused like if you are getting consumed or confused with all of these like ideas of like path and movement forward and where's my path and my purpose, and break it down to what do I want to do this moment? What do I want to do this second? What can I do right now to bring joy and happiness into my life? What can I do right now to feel fulfilled? Because a lot of the times we're constantly waiting. We're waiting for this thing to come. We're waiting to get this thing. We're waiting to be shown this before we're able to give ourselves happiness and joy and excitement. And the reality is that the only person that's choosing to wait is you. It's about learning to embody what you've learned throughout your spiritual awakening, learning to embody that you are whole and you've always been whole. Now take your wholeness and use that to bring love and light into your life. May that be however it looks for you specifically. And, this could be, I mean, we are creators. That is my personal belief, is I believe that we are here to create. And so creating in whatever way that looks for you, right? Like, does that look like you like creating music? Does that look like you creating art? Does that look like you creating classes? Does that look like you creating books? Like, does that look like you creating content, right? There's so many ways to create, and when you're able to tap into that part of yourself and really get in touch with that creative nature, um, that's really when you're going to start to feel more fulfilled. Because with creation comes completion. So, what I mean by that is like when we're able to create something and see a finished product, there is just such a feeling of completion that comes from that. And so, when you're engaging in that way and you're moving in your life in that way, right? Like that feels good. And the other thing that's coming through is like, think about it like going to the gym. You go to the gym and you work out, or you walk and work, whatever you do to work out, right? And over time, you build strength. Over time, you get better. Over time, you get more fit, right? Over time, you get stronger. And so it's the same thing as like you feel good about that, right? You feel good about the work you put in. You feel good about the completion that comes from that. It's the same thing about learning to find a way to create for yourself, whatever that may be for you. A lot of the things that I create, from probably what you've seen that I advertise, I create content. I create, books, I create journals, I create classes, right? Like I create a lot of like educational stuff because I'm very like intellectual, and that's just like my go-to, right? But that's maybe not everybody's, which is totally fine. I'm starting to create art more, but you got to figure out what it is for you that really draws you into that creation energy. And when you create and other people like your creations, I mean, that's like the cherry on top. Now, that's not the goal. The goal is for you to enjoy it and for you to pass time effortlessly and for you to find completion in it, right? But the cherry on top is that other people will enjoy it as well, or it may help other people as well, right? It may serve other people as well. And that's like the highest timeline that you can get on, is this idea that whatever you create can be shared with others. And so, coming back to the in between, you're in between because you haven't made a decision on which way you're going to go. I'm seeing someone who's standing at the edge of an ocean with a thousand possibilities, which can be completely overwhelming. And I've totally been there. And you're seeing all these different choices and possibilities that are in front of you. And you're like, oh my gosh, which one do I choose? But if I choose this one, then this one, let go of the logic. It's letting go of logic. When it comes to this kind of thing, it's letting go of the logic and just trusting in the feeling that is coming through as you do the thing. I hope that makes sense. That came through very interesting. But it's trusting in the feeling that you receive by doing that thing. So, like, I'll just talk about something specifically. So, like, I started making courses a couple months ago, and I had been trying to launch them and launch them and launch them. They're finally launching. And the reality is like I didn't know exactly what these courses were going to be for, how it was going to all play out, right? But I knew that that's what I needed to do at the time because my intuition was telling me to, so I did that thing. And the way that it's going to actually be used in the container is kind of shifting a little bit as I'm growing and shifting and spiritually developing. But and that's normal, right? That happens with everything. But my point of sharing this is that, whatever you're feeling intuitively pushed to do in that moment, do it. And it doesn't have to make sense. And also, sometimes it doesn't connect. Like, you can't connect the dots, like I'm seeing, like difficulty with connecting the dots. And I think this is where people get stuck in the in between, is because they're trying to think so far ahead of what this thing is supposed to provide. How is it supposed to make sense? And the reality is it's not supposed to make sense yet. Sometimes it's not supposed to make sense yet. Sometimes it's just the excitement and the fulfillment and the joy and the feeling of creating, and then later being able to receive the insight. So, this is also like kind of reminding me of the idea of, like, right, Empress energy, receiving energy. Receiving energy, from my personal belief, is that it comes from this place of, you know, you create something, and this is kind of what happened with me recently, so I'll just use that as an example, right? I created all these courses and didn't really know how to launch them, didn't really know how it was all going to play out or whatever, right? And then I had a drawer feeling to do some other stuff, so I dabbled in over here for a little bit. As I let this go and let this kind of be, and like started creating in these aspects and finding joy and fulfillment over here, I began to receive insight and information from the divine source, God, whatever you call it, to help me understand how to use this in a more grounded way. And I'm finding that the more that I am relaxed and calm and moving from this place of enjoyment, of satisfaction, of fulfillment, of happiness, of what brings me joy, what I want to do in that moment that's going to bring me happiness and joy and help me play a little bit, because I like to play. Um, and I think playing is also the deepest way to tap into your highest timeline and your inner self and your truest authentic self, which is really your highest timeline. But when I tap into that energy of play and what do I want to do to play right now, right? I'm realizing that the more that I do that, the more that I open myself up to insights from the divine, insights about what to do next, ideas that I can do, new and creative endeavors, new ways to like move forward that are fun for me, that I enjoy, right? And so, for me personally, that's come up in a lot of different ways, and I've kind of moved it through a lot of different ways. And eventually they will be profitable because of the way that things are just moving in that direction. But the concept around what I guess like I'm trying to say is that you're following your most passionate excitement, happiness, joy. That is what you're following. Let the profit piece and money piece go. As soon as you release your grasp on that, you open yourself up to so many possibilities and so many ideas and so many passionate endeavors. So many. But when you are holding on to this idea of how is it going, that's a lack. That's a lack space. That's a lack mindset. I understand that we all need money. I get that. I understand that we need it to survive. I understand that. But you have to be able to release your overthinking and logical mind based on that, because that will come once you are walking that purposeful line. Once you are in that place of play, in that place of like authenticity, in that place of creation, in that place of joy, right? You co-create with spirit. And as you co-create with spirit, God, divine, whatever you want to call it, source, the other stuff will come in. You will understand how to make money from it. You will understand what the movement forward with that is. And so, I think it's really important to recognize that those thoughts do come through in a receiving way. But first, you really need to get solid on what you like to do, how you enjoy spending your time, what that looks like for you, and what brings you enjoyment. And start walking that path, because the rest will come in once you're enjoying yourself and having a good time and having fun. That's learning to go with flow. And so for the in-betweeners, I guess my question to you is kind of like, what is it that you feel like you don't have that you're waiting for? Is it the confidence? Is it the skill? Is it like what is it? Because you're not going to get the skill without practicing, right? You're not going to get better at something without practicing something. And you're not going to get the confidence without letting yourself show yourself that you can be confident. So overcoming difficulties, right? Like giving yourself the confidence, recognizing your wholeness as you are in this moment right now, so that that can continue to be built on top of as you move forward. But that's also not going to come if you're talking crap to yourself. That's also not going to come if you're not talking yourself up. That's also not going to come if you're not doing the things that you need to do to feel good about yourself so that you can pump yourself up, right? Like there are certain things that you need to do and certain things you need to engage in to be able to get to this point, right? There is work that needs to be put in. I just see a lot people who are just waiting. They're waiting for the thing. They're waiting for the thing to come in. They're waiting for their manifestation to come in. And the reality is it's not about waiting. It's about doing while you're moving towards something. And maybe there is healing in here. Like I would argue that healing is maybe what you're feeling like you need to wait to do, but you're never going to be fully healed. So my question to you then is, how much healing do you have to do before you're good enough? How much healing before do you have to do before you try? Right? Like I think that that's like where we get stuck. And so all of this to kind of say that, you're not going, the manifestations are not just going to drop in your lap. There's something that you co create and engage in and create with the divine. And you do that by taking action and doing the things that you want to do, doing the things that you enjoy, doing the things that bring you happiness, finding out what those things are, finding out what brings you your deepest fulfillment and passion. And then those things will be the things that will move you forward. And you'll get more ideas and you'll be more on tap with that stuff. But you have to start somewhere. And I think one of the things that I felt like I needed to talk about coming into this today was, my channeling, like how I channel with source and divine and spirit and now ancestors and people who have passed is kind of a new gift that's opening up for me. When I'm channeling, I'm not expecting things to be a certain, I am completely clear. I mean, you have to be completely clear to receive the information. So I'm not worried about what's next, what's happening after, futuristic. I'm not in any of that. I'm in the present, I'm in the here, I'm in the right now. And when I'm in the present, in the here and the right now, that's when I'm receiving all of these creative ideas. When I'm receiving channeling from spirit that I channel for you guys. When I receive all of the educational stuff that I share on here. It's really me being calm and relaxed and able to receive, and then I'm able to receive all of the ideas, all of the different ways of doing things, the different ways to do something else, the practicality of how to do it, right? And so I don't walk into my channeling sessions like knowing what I'm going to be channeling about. I only know once I sit down and I start talking. And to be very honest, and if you watched me, you know this. Sometimes I'm like, how did we even get here? I don't even know how that happened. But it's not for me to figure out. It's not for me to like move or shift. It's really me just fully being a vessel for the divine to speak through. And that's it. Nothing else. And just fully surrendering to that, fully surrendering to the unknown, fully releasing control and letting things play out exactly how they're supposed to, and just trusting and knowing that that is how it's meant to be. And so, I feel like that's important to talk about here. And part of the reason is there's something coming through. If you haven't seen it and you are very spiritual, I do recommend taking a look at it. Jay Shetty did a podcast with Madonna, and freaking great. Oh, beautiful, 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 beautiful lessons, education, beautiful story, all of the things. Madonna is deeply spiritual, if you don't know. And she talks about how she is a channel. And that's how she creates her music. That's how she gives light. And she's a channel in every aspect of what she does in her life. And she talks about her spiritual journey. It's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And I agree and love everything that she said. And then her teacher also comes on, who is very interesting as well. He was from Cabal, the Cabal, which I don't know much about, but was how she really started opening up in the spiritual way. But she talks about like how to channel the light, how, and that's what psychics do. That's what we're doing, right? We're literally just letting ourselves be a vessel to channel the light. Madonna does that with her music. I just thought that was so cool. And I'm not a Madonna fan, but I kind of am now. But my point of sharing this piece is that if you are wanting to understand this on a deeper level, she talks about manifestation from her perspective as well, which I also agree with. I think she's fantastic. It might be really helpful for you to take a look. Maybe you've stumbled upon this video and this is your sign to go check that out so that you can receive your own downloads and understanding about your path moving forward. Um, so I do go check. I could talk about it forever, but go check it out if you are interested in checking it out, and you want more understanding. But you're only stuck in the in between for as long as you decide to be stuck in the in between for. So if you are someone who is stuck in the in, I want you to ask yourself, what am I waiting for? What do I think is coming to me that I can't bring myself? Because the reality is that you can bring it yourself. You are meant to bring it to yourself so that you can open yourself up to it. I hope that made sense. That was a little weird how that came through. But you are meant to take action. Manifestation is not just sitting and wishing and visualizing, and it's taking action as well. And the rest will come in. And the more you take action and do those things, the more information comes in, the more things you receive, the more you get. I mean, that's the reality. Is like if you're using it, you'll get more of it, right? If you if you don't use it, you lose it. I always used to think of it. It's kind of the same thing. If you're using it, you'll receive more of it to the point where you'll be busting at the seams with ideas of creation and different things that you'll be excited about life. You'll be excited about and anticipating what's next, and you'll wake up excited for the day because you have all of these ideas and things that you want to put into action that just feel so good for you. So I really do wish and hope that you yourself can get there out of the in between. It's an interesting place to be in. If you do need help, you can take a look at my link tree. I have one-on-one sessions that I can offer and do that kind of work with you if you need some help figuring out how to do that, what you need to shift belief wise, what's blocking you, limited beliefs. I also do coaching, empowerment coaching, which is really that confidence, that self-trust so you can move forward. And then I also have courses in my Inner Eclipse Collective.com. That is my class database. So I love you and you got this. Trust in yourself, know yourself, know that you got it no matter what, and keep going.